Hi there, this is Dani. The channel's You and Me Living Free, and I am so excited about today's video, and I'm gonna try so hard to stay focused and stay on track. There's so much I want to say, but I really want to try to keep it focused so that I can be of help to everyone else and to myself, right? Because I'm a verbal processor. Saying things out loud helps me process. It helps me bring things home in a more real way. It makes things more real for me, and it gets me pumped, and it keeps me accountable. And there's all kinds of benefits for me talking to you about this stuff. There's benefits for me, but I want to always be focused on also what's in it for you. So a few weeks ago, we did a video about no more New Year's resolutions. They were becoming this kind of drag and this kind of thing where I would put, lose weight and make more money, follow intuition, like the same things I would put down every year, and then I would just feel like blah and not that inspired. So I shared a couple of different things that I've been doing the past few years that really helped me. I hope to help you too. There's a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go into depth. I'm just going to say really briefly. Number one, instead of the same old resolutions, we pick a word for the year. This is a word that we find inspiring, so we focus on it. And it's kind of our touchstone. It's kind of our guidepost for the year. Let's say your word for the year is intuition, which mine has been before, and you're looking at making a big decision. Well, your brain is telling you, well, logically now, as I add up the numbers, this looks like the logical choice. And your body and your heart are telling you something completely different. This one's kind of soul crushing. This makes my heart sing. Even though the numbers don't add up, I'm going to go with this one. My word for the year is intuition. So it's like this touchstone. You bring it into your everyday life, and it just helps guide you for that year, for that phase, for that season in your life. I have two words this year: inspired and aliveness. I'm not going to go into detail. I want to tell you all about them and why I chose them and everything, but maybe some other time, or maybe at the very end or something. But I don't want to get bogged down. I'm trying so hard to stay focused. Aren't you proud of me? Okay, so pick a word for the year. That's our focus. Write it down. Stick it on sticky notes. Put it in the front of your journal. Do whatever it is that you do to keep it kind of present mind. I've put sticky notes on bathroom mirrors, on my van, on the steering wheel, wherever you're going to look at it. Just as a reminder. You can put it on your phone and set reminders on your phone to remind you every day. Okay, already getting long-winded, Dani. Let's keep this concise. Let's keep moving. Second thing I'm doing is this kind of 3 to 4 step process of writing down what I want every day, writing 5 things I want every day. Now, I have not been consistent with this, but I'm doing it whenever the urge hits, whenever I think about it, whenever it sounds like something fun to do. Sometimes I'll do it 3 days in a row. Sometimes I won't do it for a week. Whatever. I'm not beating myself up. I'm not in shame about it. I don't have these standards of you do it every day or you're a loser. None of that. I used to beat myself up for stuff like that all the time, but no more, right? No more. As we're on the journey to grow and change, we need to treat ourselves like the toddler. I always remember that analogy. It is so good. I've never found a better analogy. Your parents, you have a toddler, they're learning to walk, they stumble and they fall down. And do you say to yourself, this kid is so inept, there's no way they're ever going to learn to walk? No, you say, this is the way you learn to walk. Oh, it's okay. Dust yourself off. Try again. Cheer them on. That's the way we're going to treat ourselves through anything with growth, anything where we're trying to change, where we're trying to become better in whatever way, raise consciousness, do all those things. So we're like the toddler. The 3 to 4 step process is this: write down a bunch of stuff I want every day. Now, this takes away the pressure to have those same few things that come up again and again and again. Money, health, blah, blah, blah. The only reason I'm not saying like relationships or anything is because There's some areas in your life where you really feel like you have it together. Like I have my kids and the people that I love and care about, I have amazing relationships. So that's just not on my list. Money and health, of course, are. Money and weight, more specifically, have been. Then when I got more spiritual, I called it money and health, or abundance and health. Same thing, same trap. By writing down 5 things each day, what I find is you're giving yourself permission to want what you want. You're giving yourself permission to think about all these things that you want and to open up and get this flow going. It's also kind of telling your brain and the universe and everything around you that this is what I expect for my life. These are the good things I deserve. This is how I'm thinking now, so take note. So writing 5 things is wonderful. Now, then after you've written the 5 things, you picture yourself and you feel the feelings of doing the work. Not necessarily of the end result, although you can. If that sounds fun and you feel like doing that, do it. Play with it. Have a great time. Get all those positive endorphins going. But right now, we're taking this from Mel Robbins. This is a little twist of hers. For right now, I want you to picture doing the actual work. Picture yourself falling in love with the process of it. Falling in love with doing the work every single day. This is like my YouTube channel in a word. This is it. This is just the joy of doing it for the joy of it every single day. I still love every aspect of it. It's still fun. It never feels like work or a drag or I have to make myself do it. The minute I do have to make myself, or it's just not fun, or I just don't feel it, I'm not going to do it. And that's the deal that I have with myself. That's the deal for this whole year and maybe even beyond. If I can figure out how to do life, all of life, not doing things I hate, not doing things that make my soul cry, that break my heart, just to earn $1 or just to get by. Okay, have I been distracted enough? So we're gonna write down those things we want. We're gonna picture ourselves doing the work, falling in love with the process. We're gonna picture ourselves being proud, feeling the feelings of being proud of ourselves as we do the work each and every single day and fall in love with the process. And then the third to fourth step is do the work, right? Like take the steps, take the baby steps. Now, I was writing my 5 things the other day, actually a few weeks ago, and I was feeling kind of in a place of lack when I was making my list. And you'll find this if you practice this regularly. Sometimes you're on a real high and you can just write things you want and it's flowing and it's beautiful and all of those things. But sometimes, I'm going to grab my journal and see if I can even find it. But sometimes you're writing out of a place of more scarcity and more fear. And so some of the things that you write end up being things that might make you feel safe, but they don't make your soul sing. This is where I got my word inspired from, which is safety, security, okayness, even peace is not enough. Like, I want inspiration for life. I want to be out there every day enthusiastic. Like, you can tell by the way I am on YouTube, this is the way that I am in life. If you ask the closest people around me to describe me in 3 words, almost all of them would have like maybe enthusiastic. Maybe. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Have you ever done that? But I was in a job interview one time and they said, give me 3 words to describe you. And I had 2 words. And the interviewer said, if you don't use enthusiastic as the 3rd word, then I would be shocked. So that's just such an integral part of who I am. Why did I share that? I don't know. I'm down a rabbit trail again, Dani. Okay, back to focus. So then you do the work. And so that's the 3-step process. Let me find the journal entry that tells the point I'm trying to demonstrate here about inspired wants versus safety and security wants. But here's the thing. If your frame of mind is such that you're feeling financial pressure. You might not be able to pay a bill. You have something coming up you can't afford, things like that. Then the biggest thing on your mind is going to be relief from that financial pressure. If you have a health diagnosis, then the biggest pressure on your mind is going to be health and vitality. I just want this gone. Like, that's your number one thing. So there are some methods for kind of getting around that initial stuff. Now, there's nothing wrong with writing that initial stuff. There is nothing wrong with wanting health and vitality, with wanting financial security and not having to scrape and scratch and struggle for every dollar to pay every bill. And believe me, I know someone needs to hear this. I need to hear this. That's why I'm saying this all today, is because I need to hear it. I need to hear. Dani, can you do one thing without crying? Maybe not. I needed to hear that I'm like a toddler with this growth thing. I have to be easy with myself. Okay, we have to be easy with ourselves, because growth doesn't happen by guilt and shame and beating ourselves up. Oh, I forgot. I put on a little bit of mascara. I even put on a little bit of eyeliner for you today, and I was just wiping my tears like this. So then I'd end up with raccoon eyes. I'm so not used to wearing makeup. Anyway. Oh, where was I even? I'm going to try to find this journal entry where I talk about what I wanted, and then I'm going to share something that's coming up, and then I want to talk about really having a big dream and how it can be tricky to have a really big dream, because sometimes those really big dreams seem so unattainable. They seem so far away that it's easy to get discouraged. But I want to talk about what I'm finding now that I have this great big, almost seemingly impossible dream, and how I'm using it to fuel my journey for life, fuel my motivation for everything. I want to find this specific entry, and I'll be right back. Okay, I found it, and I've thought about this for a few minutes because there's so much I could share in this video, and I want to narrow the focus back down and share this with you. So what I like to do is get in a really good place where I'm centered and strong and everything's good before I write down my 5 things I want. But sometimes you sit down and the feeling just isn't quite there, but you kind of want to do it anyway. I found that I was putting like security and safety things on my list. Like I want a home. I want to provide a space for my kids for as long as they want. I want this income. I want like all these kind of security things, right? Another way to get around that, number one, is just to notice and say that's fine and be fine with it. Another is to say, okay, if I really wanted to be inspired, does this inspire me? Does this inspire me? And if the answer is yes, by all means, have it there. But that's my word for the year, so I needed something a little more. And I thought, and at that point, and I'd had the awareness, I just kind of cleared everything out. And I was like, what do I really, really want? Another way to get past those initial wants that are really security is to say, okay, there's the wand right there. Everything I already wrote that is security based is already done. I've already accomplished all of those things. Now, what's next? Now, what's the next thing I want? That's a really powerful tool. I have used that many, many times. I've heard it from many sources, and it's a powerful tool. So use it yourself, please, please, please. And that is, if you can't get to what you really want, ask yourself, whatever you wrote down, what if I already had this, then what's next? You'd be surprised what comes up. So I was trying to clear my mind, and without even hardly thinking, do you ever do like free writing where you're just like, get my brain out of the way, let me get in touch with something a little bigger, what do I really want? What would really inspire me for my life? And I wrote down rim to rim hike. Okay, so for a little while, I have been kind of obsessed with the rim to rim thing. Ever since I went to the Grand Canyon, I'm obsessed with the Grand Canyon. I love it. Every time I even think about the Grand Canyon, I get goosebumps. The hairs on my arms stand up. There's something about the Grand Canyon that's magical to me. Then I went to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and spent more time there. And that's the first time I had heard of a rim to rim hike. And I started watching people who were doing rim to rim hike. It's where you start at the north rim of the Grand Canyon. You hike down into the canyon and all the miles across and come up on the south rim. At least that's a common way to do it. Some people come down the south rim and go up to the north. But anyway, you go down the north rim and up the south rim. And so you're down in the canyon. It's like 22 to 24 miles. So think like marathon length, only it's rocks and incline and decline, like almost the whole thing. Like there isn't much flat to it. You're either coming steep down or you're going steep up. It is a killer. And as soon as I heard of it and watched my first person do it, I was like, somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to do it, but it was way too big. It's way too big. A person of my health and fitness level, it's like, you've seen me do hiking videos, maybe? This is like way, way, way out of my league. There are many, many problems, but I was so surprised to even have written it. I didn't even know that it was really there. Rim to rim hike, I put down. Then when I went back and read my list, I added plan in place. In other words, a plan for how I would get into good enough shape to actually accomplish that goal. A plan in place. It was so big and so scary that I needed to qualify it just a little bit. My dream is to have a plan in place. Like I could do this and here is how it's all laid out and I could get from here to there. It'd be a big journey, but I could do it. And so I qualified it by having a plan in place. So I am starting to work on the plan. This is huge. Now, this is where my two words, my inspired, came from, right? The things on the list weren't inspiring me. There was safety and security, and that feels comforting and it feels good. It feels like relief, but it wasn't the highest aspiration that I could get to. Something that really, like when I get out of the bed in the morning, think, oh, this is what I get to do today. And when you have a great big goal like this, here's what it does. Here's what it really does. And this is what I've been thinking a lot about lately. It's about the hike because I find it so inspiring and I love the Grand Canyon with all my heart. And I can just imagine being in the kind of shape that it takes to get there. But it's not just a physical thing. It's looking at, here's the thing. It's looking at what kind of person do I have to become to be the person who gets this done? So what kind of person do I have to become to be the person who gets this done? How am I going to walk in those shoes now? So those are the things I'm working on. That's really deep, and I don't know if it completely sunk in. It's still sinking in for me, but it's something I've looked at before, but it really is coming up in a whole new way and in a much deeper way. So if your goal is something that the person you have to become in order to have it is worth your while, even if you got interrupted halfway through and you never reach your goal, the thing is that this is the path you want to be on. This is the kind of person I want to be. The person who can do that. Not only is this person healthy and strong and flexible and vital and have tons of endurance, right? Those are those physical, obvious aspects. But to go from where I am to where I want to be, I'm also going to have such a more spiritual depth at commitment, at seeing the unseen, at believing I can accomplish this wonderful thing when I can't even do an incline like that for 1 mile, let alone 13 miles of incline. Like, I'm so far away. So the thing is, that who is the person who gets to do this and who gets to accomplish this and actually see it through. This person is not only physically amazing, but they're spiritually, they're emotionally, they are dedicated and driven, and they're and committed and unstoppable. And also, I'm thinking this is a tool for me to get to where I want to be. And where I want to be is I want to know myself for who and what I truly am. In whatever kind of unlimited way that is. I want to be the expression of all that I can be. Have the awareness of who I truly am and who I came here to be. And all of that. So this Rim to Rim is so exciting and such a motivator, but at the same time, there are many other things that go into it. And this is the person I want to be. This is the person I want to be, is the person who could do this. And this is my aspiration. So I want to do it, and I see myself doing it. At the same time, this is the path I want to be on. Even if I didn't get there, this is creating the person I want to be. The person that I see doing this and having all of these strengths and having all of this character and this just strength and vision and faith. It's about all those things. And transformation, the ability to transform, the ability to change, the ability to break through conditioned ways of being and compulsion and habit and all those things that are keeping me stuck where I am. I would have to release so much of that, and I'm looking forward to it. But here's the other thing about having a big dream. It can be completely big and overwhelming. So it's like I was saying just the other day with the intuitive eating video, if you watched that, it's looking at it as this is the long term. I don't have to do it in 1 year. I don't have to do it in 2 years. I don't have to do it in 3 years. I don't have to do it in 4 years. I don't have a time limit right now. All I need to do is to keep it alive and to move in that direction. To set out a plan, to set out goals, to set out whatever feels good to me. This is the path I want to be on, so I'm on it. And it doesn't matter if the ideal is 5 years away. What if I got hit by a truck and died in 1 year? I don't care. I mean, I care, but this is the path I want to be on. This is the kind of person I want to be. This is where I'm focusing my attention. And that is the glory and the beauty of having a big dream, is it calls you to be better than you are in so many areas of your life, not just one. I'm so excited. I'm so on fire, and I feel like this year and being on the road and making this dream come true has given me fuel to believe that so much more is possible, so much more than I ever dreamed before is possible. And so I hope that your dreams, I hope that whatever word you pick for the year, or if this inspires you to do something completely different, or your intuition is pulling one little piece of what I've said, and you're supposed to have watched this for that reason, and then you get a spark and you go off and do something completely different. It's not like this is a roadmap. This is just a sharing of what it's like for all of us to be human and to want to grow beyond where we are now, and to want to have awareness that is greater than where we are now, and to have understanding, and to have faith, to have power beyond what we think we have, to not be victimized by this life, but to accept all things that life brings us, and to persevere, and to this brings me my second word of the year, which is aliveness, which is, if I can wake up in the morning, if I can wake up in the morning and feel the aliveness in my body, feel my heart beating, feel the breath going in and out of my body, I'm alive. Feeling that aliveness, that most basic of things that we take for granted all the time, if I can feel that aliveness, there's such gratitude that just naturally comes with it. And that's why aliveness was such a great word. And also it's like, if you can't get to the point where you're inspired, maybe you're having a bad day or a really big challenge, for now you can definitely get to, I'm alive right now and I can feel it in me. I can feel my heart's beating. The breath is going in and out. Millions of things happening in my body's cells and reactions and neurons and electricity and like everything happening. Each little cell is a little factory, right? It's converting energy. It's doing all kinds of functions. It's amazing everything that's happening right now. So if I can't be at a point where I'm inspired because life is too heavy or life seems too rough right then I can be in aliveness. I can be in, I'm so happy to be alive right now. This is another video I started off to be kind of short. It's ended up kind of long. If you are here, boy, you deserve a medal. Please let me know in the comments if you made it to the end. And I want to know if you feel like sharing your word or your words or what you want, what you're calling into your life and what you really want. One little takeaway that you have, one little thing that touched you, one little thing that made a difference, anything at all. I appreciate you. And I am sending a ton of love. And I want to thank you for being here. I thank my patrons. I thank my subscribers. I thank all of you. I thank the world. I thank my heart for beating. I thank my kids for being like just the number one joy and purpose for my whole life. Just happy to be here. Even though I'm a crybaby. All right. Thank you so much. I'm sending you love and I'll catch you next time.